We continue our study in the Gospel of Matthew. And in this next lesson, we are going to be looking at Matthew chapter 4 and verse 24. I'm going to be reading from the original Living Bible. The report of his miracles spread far beyond the borders of Galilee, so that sick folk were soon coming to be healed from as far away as Syria. And whatever their illnesses and pain, or if they were possessed by demons, or if they were insane or paralyzed, he healed them all. Asclepius was the Greek god of healing. In the ancient world, medicine and the practice of it was not well developed. Now, if you are part of the wealthy elite in the Roman world, things were a little better. The reality is that most were not, and sickness and disease was rampant. So who would you look to? You would look to the god of healing. And Asclepia, which is a shrine to the god of healing, were the places people flocked to for healing. When we read the story of how people were flocking to Jesus to be healed, it is consistent with what we know in the Roman Empire at that time. Jesus could have created a massive following if he were content to put himself forward as a person who could bring healings. The church is always in danger of being trapped in what is good and not in what is best. In the Western world, the church has been the agency with the responsibility for the care of the poor. Is there anything wrong with this? Yes and no. Churches and church agencies can actually get to the point where they need the poor. Why, you may ask? It is that they needed the poor to justify their existence. Now, this seems a rather cruel thought. The fact is, serving the poor is not necessarily Christian. It is not when it only serves to feed our need of self-importance and moral superiority. Yes, we need to have compassion on those in need, but if the compassion goes no further than the economic, we are not serving the needs of the poor. That is the real needs of the poor. I think that it is a consistent in principle with why Jesus did not just become a healer. You see, what we need to do is not to serve needs, for needs will never be, this side of eternity, done with. There will always be needs. The other side of the equation is that the church becomes closed to the needs of the world around them. Now, this is the equally wrong approach. The church becomes a reclusive agency, cut off from the reality of the world, content in their own little group and clique, and not seeing the needs around them. When we do that, we send a message to the world that God's love is not real. You see, if that love of God is real and life-changing, we want to share it with our world. This is the spring by which we do healings and serve the poor and more. The love of God in us will always look for new and creative ways to share it with the world. This is why there is an inherent danger of doing, as a church, what we have done in the past, be it overseas missions or rescue missions or the monastic movement, and you can go on and on and on. The danger is we can continue to do what was done in the past simply because it was done in the past and will not see it may no longer be effective in doing what it was once doing. Jesus healed because the need was there, but Jesus did not allow the art and practice of healing to define who he was and what he was about. Jesus gives us a lot of great teachings and words that we can live a life by. Jesus also never explained in detail some of what he did or some of what he did not do. I think what Jesus understood is that we can be defined by what we do to the point that we have to do that thing. Churches and church agencies can be locked into a dated methodology. You see, it is not to be about what we do as much as the fact that we find ways to love others. Churches, like any other institutions, do not love people. It is a mistake to think that a church can love people. It is only people can love people. Institutions never love people. Churches that rely on a methodology to say they love the world are deceiving themselves. Jesus did not come to impart a methodology. He came to lay down his life for a world that needed his love. So, yes, he did some healings, but he never allowed that to get in the way of what he needed to do.